because you have an important task to play in ensuring that the new National Party reemerges to bring Grenada back to where it was before. It is a distinct pleasure for me to be here on the platform of my colleague, sister, caretaker, Nolan Thompson's platform, as part of the team of the new National Party. This lady, like all the others who have taken up the mantle, has demonstrated the qualities exposed by the new National Party leadership, fundamental to which is love for your fellow men and women, being the driving force to get one to be of service to the fellow countrymen and women. In addition, I see in the new National Party team, unlike in others, ability, humility, truthfulness, and that drive to ensure the well-being of those we serve and not the well-being of ourselves. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, these tenets guided the new National Party throughout the years. They are responsible for our country's economic success, accomplished with the help of the Almighty through the optimal integration of the various sectors: agriculture, fisheries, education, social services, youth, finance, sports, national security, health, housing, infrastructure, among others. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, as the chairman hinted, I will speak to infrastructure, a sector that I served before entering the political arena, and one of the many that I continue to serve after becoming a member of government. We have heard the orchestrated propaganda that nothing was done by the new National Party government. Of course, this means that nothing was done in any of the sectors mentioned above. But in the proponent's eyes, the intended sector, infrastructure, is what is most visible and what the NNP has been highly praised for. Hence the proponent's strategy to target and destroy the new National Party's areas of strength. But the same group that called the new National Party administration a concrete government, primarily because of our prowess in infrastructural development, has now turned its mouth. I'm not saying lie, have now turned its mouth. Nothing was done by the concrete government. What a paradox. Not lie, a paradox. And a paradox is untruth, impossibility, everything. So it's worse than a lie. Imagine that, brothers. What is irrefutably clear, though, is that over the last 3+ years, our country's infrastructure has been deteriorating rapidly, and this government has no remedy. Projects stalled or abandoned, massive cost overruns, and wide open corruption doors. We'll come back to that. Let's look at the history of the new National Party. About a week ago, I heard a single mother complaining that the children had to study under lamp. Only 1 week ago. And understandably, bemoaning the dismal environment. Ladies and gentlemen, children, consider the situation in 1985, when out of every 100 homes in Grenada, 55 were without electricity, and the majority of our children had to study under lamps. This 45-year-old mother had no knowledge of this. Of course, she was only 5 years old then. But I make the point to tell you Unless we instill in our children and those younger than us what went on before, you will have dismal situation like this reoccurring in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Economic activities mushroom throughout the country. Imagine when 55 out of every 100 homes now get electricity. The activities that can go on besides learning under electric lights. You have your little parlor. You got your little fridge. Well, I could tell you that Howard's and Hawkins and the others sold out. Those of us, the former Prime Minister is here, the entire country boomed. And you want to say transformation? This is the first transformation that happened in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. It propelled our economy forward, and it led the way for other things. So now 98% of our country has electricity because of the 55%, the new National Party electrified every home that could have been wired safely. The 2% is because they could not have been wired in a safe manner. And the government electrical inspector says, don't bother, I will fail that. You know what happened? We still came back later to help these people. And later, even under a hostile environment, the new National Party administration worked with the utility then to assist new homes in receiving electricity service. So we did not stop in 1985. We continue. And brothers and sisters, it is your task to ensure that the new National Party returns to office so that this work can continue. The water infrastructure was also tackled. Direct connections were made to homes and standpipes reduced to strategic location. One of those was when we look at a stretch of road and we recognize if a vehicle got into trouble in the middle of the night, there was nowhere to go. So if that person would walk a mile, he or she will get into his standpipe. But there was no stand, and now as you see it, hardly a standpipe. Everybody home is connected with water. This came from the new National Party, brothers and sisters. The leak detection and program. Every day a pipe was burst. You water in the road, you're calling, oh, the pipe burst. But we implemented the leak detection and repairs and the metering. Because people on the hill could not get water, they were now getting water. But some tanks are overflowing. But when the meter kicked in, they shut the tanks off themselves. So the three must have worked together. Brothers and sisters, this comes from a people in leadership with capability, with knowledge, with understanding, and with experience. That's how we tackle problems, brothers and sisters. The tourism sector benefited. The manufacturing sector benefited. Improved water supply. Expanded reservoirs included the Grenada intake. Some of you do not know that you can now intake water from the Grenada Lake. It is up to the management of Nawasa to rectify and manage it. So everything goes land from the lake. That was put in place by the new National Party. So watch the improvement and development. With electricity in every home now, every home became a potential customer for telecommunications. If you don't have electricity in your homes, nobody's bothering with you. But we put electricity in nearly 100% of the homes. The new National Party examined the environments of the telephone sector. We had the Grenada Telephone Company. You couldn't make an overseas call. You had cable and wireless, so you had to pay local call, foreign call. This was merged. But still, you had one person who you can use, cable and wireless. The new National Party led the drive in the OECS to liberalize the telecommunication sector. And it is because of the new National Party, you now have a choice between flow, which has come in from Cable and Wireless and Digicel. Without the liberalization, none of you, the beautiful young ladies, could not walk with two handguns in the back. You pull one, and that's it. That is because of the work and the knowledge of the new National Party. You can access technology whether you're in a building or whether you are on the move. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, rates reduced significantly. Other people will tell you about what the new National Party did to keep rates down in all sectors, all the sectors we were there. I will stick to the infrastructure. You know now, in their private meetings, they were saying that NNP did so much. We came out with a propaganda that we never thought will work. And oh, how it worked. Because you can still hear some people saying, NNP, what did they do? Just look around you. And again, you who know, just tell the others who were not around at the point in time. Let us look at some of the projects. You had utilities, and let us look at the concrete projects, the concrete government. They saw it, you know, but yet the concrete government did nothing. Look at the cruise ship terminal. They were so against it, they say Grandad's Beach will move away. But where is it now? When you have people sitting in ministries who know, and when you would employ the best, then you know whatever you're doing will be safe for our people. No longer the little tenders to come off the boats directly on the cruise terminals, major ships in Grenada. The bus terminal in St. George's, Sotters, and Grenville, all works of the new National Party. The National Stadia, 2 stadia, again built by the new National Party. And it's the first time we had matches here for the World Cup. For the first time, development, the lighting of several playing fields. Well, all of that is now stalled. But that was commenced under the new National Party. And it will continue when the new National Party is returned to office. The Fort George Tourism Project. That is one they say is theirs. Oh. The General Hospital upgrade. I remember the then political leader and Prime Minister saying when people were complaining, oh, we want a new hospital, we want a new hospital. We sat together with medical practitioners from the US, from England, Grenadian nurses, and from right here in Grenada. And he said, we could borrow and build a hospital, you know. All it will mean is that the patients will die on new beds instead of old beds. I tell you, the meeting looked up. What did we have to do? We must ensure that the people get good healthcare service now. Yes, the new building will come. But if you don't have the soft infrastructure, as we refer to it, the human hands in the program, then they will go to naught. I understand that we have paid $2 million US. It is up to the leader of the opposition and the former Prime Minister sitting in the House to really dig for some answers. We have paid for Mount Sinai to come to Grenada, not for the big, massive project being bandied about, but because everyone understands of the poor nature of the healthcare. So we have to pay for people to come to tell us not how to build a hospital, but how we must run healthcare within the hospital. Brothers and sisters, under the new National Party, that would never have been sold. Equipment for medical stations, nurses and doctors, you hear? Remember the project where we put equipment into medical stations so that you can go into the medical station and a doctor from abroad or a doctor from the hospital could analyze and examine you through the equipment in the medical station. Those of you who didn't know, find out what has happened to that project. The Gove Medical Center, an up-to-date medical center that set the pattern for what should happen in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. The Houses of Parliament building, when the hurricane moved that building on Church Street, we were at SGU. We went into a little hall there. Well, it was massive for us, but there we were holding our parliament session. The political leader then and Prime Minister met the Australians. And then we went over to the Emirates. And we negotiated, and we got our Houses of Parliament building. Grant funded. The PSIA, International Airport Development Project, another one they claim to? Okay. But this was done and the comments by the new National Party administration. The agricultural feeder roads. Let me mention about phase 3 of the agricultural feeder roads. When the new National Party went out of office, the NDC came in. They ran CCC out of the country, remember that? And they met with the donors. How could you be so brave? The Kuwait Fund, they met with them and asked them, CCC won the bid. They said, we don't want CCC, we want another company. Immediately, the Kuwait Fund wiped their hands with Grenada. It took your humble servant and the NNP administration to go down to Kuwait and to negotiate for the continued program. Part of it is, if you have somebody who won a bid internationally and you interfered, this is open corruption. We have the Grenada Education Enhancement Project. Many schools were repaired and built. The Western Main Road Rehabilitation Project, involving the Molyneux landslip. A lot has been said about this project already. I'm just mentioning to tell you many of the things that the new National Party has put in place. The Grand Detang Road Rehabilitation Project. Anyone from St. Andrew remember this? You remember the bridge in Butchgrove? Right, good. The Western Main Road Rehabilitation Project. The River Road Flood Mitigation Project. You hear that again, it's always in the news. The Eastern Main Road Rehabilitation Project. You hear about project? How many billions that have been covered already? All of it under the new National Party. The St. Patrick's Rehabilitation Roads Rehabilitation Project. You know about OFID, the OPEC Fund for International Development? It was the new National Party who brought these people on board. The Sotes Breakwater Project. The Slope Stabilization Project. We cast our minds back to when a bus was damaged by a stone coming off a cliff. That was the genesis of that project. And throughout St. Mark, throughout Grand Detang, and other areas, we stabilized the cliff. And to date, we can say, thank you, Lord, that there is no further accident. And we continue to work on project, because the Western Main Road project also has a component of cliff stabilization. The Sea Defense project, the low-cost income houses that they gave to people and take back in Carriacou etc. Just mention all of this under the new national administration. The consistent road maintenance project. Today, when you look at our roads, it's disturbing, and a special project. Let me just remind you in some of the private sector projects that we work with. Under the NNP, the Lagoon Boatyard. Remember what we call the Discovery Project? The Lassages Hotel, those of you up here, and I think I'll just leave the names up to Sister Duglin. The St. Patrick's Development, that project is now undergoing. The Mount Hartman project, that is now under project, although slow, because the developers have problems with them. And the Grenada project. Remember the new Silver Sands? Though they were condemning it, but at the opening I never see people who condemn the place to be in there and participating in it. That could have happened in St. David as well, but I leave St. David to the caretaker. Brothers and sisters, infrastructure was never about you. A lot of people say, well, you did all this thing and we didn't know. Yes, we all knew. But because we did not promote it in a manner that will say the new national party is all about full of itself, we promote it to ensure that villages can connect and that the economy can grow, brothers and sisters. Raising financing for these projects meant we had to take a special route. Ability and knowledge of the international community and sacrifice are necessary. Procurement and financial management legislation that prevented corruption were passed. The NDC government has altered critical elements of this legislation, like raising the limit on the contract value that required tendering. Nobody under the new National Party administration could have been given a contract above $15,000. And we discussed that with the IMF and the World Bank, with the European Unions, and everyone settled that in an emergency. You cannot spend the time tendering. However, you should be able to give somebody immediately a contract to do that. But $15,000 would not promote corruption. But when you raise this to $100,000 and you call a friend, here, do this, do that, do this, do that. You heard it on the media more than I do. What has happened to this massive sum? You jump from 15, you give a friend. Brothers and sisters, the new National Party must be returned to office so that this corruption can stop, brothers and sisters. So, brothers and sisters, I ask you, ensure those of you constituents here, ensure that our sister, Nolan Thompson, has your full support when the time is called. And remember, it could be around the corner anytime. The new National Party will use infrastructure to boost and support agriculture, tourism, and all the other sectors, economic sectors. All of you listening throughout there, I ask you to stand with the new National Party through the various caretakers to ensure that the new National Party is returned to office for proper expenditure, for accountability, brothers and sisters. Ensure that the new National Party is there to help you on the way forward. I thank you, my brothers and sisters.